Right, I don't think I broke anything. Everything appears to be working. There was a countdown. Thanks for noticing, Justin. How is everybody doing? Good to see so many of you in, because we don't normally have guests on anymore. I used to do it now and again. Haven't seen me in a bit. This is crazy. Certainly hope you're all well. Let's go. So, obviously tonight there's no Stream Deck buttons or anything like that. Pump, good evening. Appy Dev is going to be joining me at around 1:30 the hour. Bill Stacey, thank you for the 11 months. Thank you very, very much. So good evening, everyone. So if you guys that don't know, obviously, when Appy Dev comes in, he'll explain what he does, who he is, and things like that. But basically, he's an app, and he used to make devices. I think he's laid off on the devices, but he also backwards engineers things to see how they work, and then rebuilds them cost effectively. So we'll get some insight into what goes into the apps, how they do work, how they don't work. Everyone after the stream go show Casper Sight some love, his brothers. Oh no. Yeah, we'll get everyone to go and wish Casper Sight the best wishes. I actually spoke to Casper Sight earlier this week, not about anything content-wise, just showing support, because obviously, we didn't get off to a great start, but the guy's been cool with me since. These apps need dismantled and the fakery exposed. Now, there are some apps that are useful. For example, there's an app created by the guy, you see him in Paranormal Quest videos quite often, and he's developed an app that's more for note-taking and recording things, but it's preloaded with questions for you to ask. So if you brain fart, this app has got questions for you to ask, and it records your apps and it records you calling out for EVPs and stuff, which I think is a really good idea. Appy Dev recently developed an app. I showed it on camera, where you set your phone up in a corner of a room stationary, and it uses SLS, but it's this app free. Most of his apps, I think, are free, and he does the equipment that he has made in the past is a fraction of the cost. But what he does different is, and he'll explain all this in far more detail, he sends a PDF document with the applications, a downloadable PDF document, so you know exactly how these devices work. So you can read how they work, what it can do, what it can't do. But he also tells you where he sourced the parts and how much for. But he'll get into more detail than I can do. Blue Sky Lissa, thank you very, very much for the membership. But obviously, I sit there and berate the apps a lot of the time, mostly because people use them as this is evidence, and that's not the case. But to have somebody on that develops these things, that has made them, I don't know if he's going to go into who he's made them for. And I don't know if he's going to get into drama or anything. Maybe just let's talk about what he does. And, there's some questions I want to ask in regards to some of the apps. I'm not going to put him on the spot with certain developers, but things I wonder about, like how much access do these applications have, or can they have, and do we need to be worried when they ask for access to your there was one app, I can't remember which one it was, but it asked for access to my photo albums, and I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So yeah, it'll be an interesting little bit of an interview. We'll probably do some questions towards the end, like the old paranormal monkey does. But yeah, bear with me because I'm not an interviewer. I can't do what Justin does. Just sit there and nod. Andrew Hills, thank you for the 12 months. Just completed my 6-month smoke-free. Hey, congratulations. That is awesome. Well done. These apps should force your phone into airplane mode and you have no access to files. I don't see if they put things in that can force your phone to do things. Is that not dangerous? I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but obviously we'll get more of an insight into all of this from Appy Dev. Now, Appy Dev has sent me equipment before now, and he's like, it's not ghost hunting equipment, it's investigative equipment. Stuart Quinn, thank you for the $20. Thank you very, very much. David Bench, thank you for the 18 months. Muchas gracias. We'll have to dip in and out, I'm afraid. My daughter's having a seizure. Just in real life first. Don't worry about it. Go do your real life thing. Knock it off and go sit with your kid. Yeah, he sent me devices, and he's never claimed that one of them are proof of a ghost. They are proof of changes in the environment, and then it's down to the investigator to investigate what has caused the change in the environment. Whereas other apps will tell you it's for entertainment, other apps will tell you it's flat out tracking ghosts, which is a bit of a reach. So, hello everybody. I'm not going to do the participants and stuff. We'll just have a little bit of a chat with you guys, and then we will get Mr. Appy Dev on. So if you guys do have questions, we'll probably do an hour with him, as long as he's free for an hour. So we'll go 7:30 till 8:30 with him. And then if you guys have got questions and he's got the time, we'll do some questions at the end. Unless we run out of things to say, which I doubt, because, a Welshman and a Scotsman, we can just chat shit for hours. But yeah, he's a very nice guy. How was my road trip? Oh, man. Up. I was expecting really bad traffic on the M5, M1, highway to hell and all this shite. But it wasn't too bad. Coming home, motorways shut everywhere. It was a ball ache. Jolene, thank you for the 34 months of mocking me. You bloody legend, you. Iceman, thank you for the 3 months. I preferred Goose. Andrew Hills, thank you for the £5. Watched Five Nights at Freddy 2 last night. It was met, but better than the first one. Also watched Predator Badlands. It was naff. Everyone else has said Predator Badlands was really good. Have you heard from Pathetic to the Bone since Egg's live stream? No, I got hit with a privacy takedown notice. And it doesn't tell me who it's from, so it's either from her or PDX, because they were both on that same podcast. But YouTube are going to reverse it because I only use what they put out there. Vicky Emming, thank you for the 50 Australian dollars. I have laughed every time somebody calls you Vicky Ming in other live streams where you're donating. I'm like, it's Emming, damn it. Vicky Emming. Cass McDonald, thank you for the 4 months. 4 months of mild heckling and sass. Huzzah. Thank you very, very much. So I'm guessing by the turnout, there's 319 people in here that you guys are quite interested in the apps. Vlad Tepis1232, thank you for the 18 months, you legend. PDX, yeah. I'm not going to get into any of that drama-filled stuff tonight. Obviously, we've got a guest on, so we'll keep it clean. So obviously, I'm not going to be reading comments like I normally do. It's all about Appy Dev, what he does, and what information we can garner about applications and maybe some devices. Ledox Sportif, I'm doing very well, thank you. Justin, please just leave and go and take care of your family, brother. I appreciate that you've come in, but yeah, real life first. Friday House, hello. Ladies Fright, hello. Bristol Paranormal, hello. It's going to be busy. Right, I can see Appy Dev is actually in the green room, so if he gives me a nod and he's happy to come on early, then we'll go early. I don't know if you can hear me, actually. Appy Dev, if you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come on early, and we'll get you in early. There's probably a 30-second delay, but there we go. No paranormal drama, ready to learn. Absolutely ready to learn. Right, I took my eyes off there, so I didn't know if he did the thumb. Yep, all good, right. Beardos, Weirdos, Boss of Ghouls. Say hello to Appy Dev.
Hello. I'm switching screens because I've got the YouTube on because I can't join the chat inside this thing. Can you hear me okay and everything?
Yeah, I can hear you absolutely fine. You don't look how I thought you would.
No, that's most weird. Most people expect like a mysterious Zach Bagans looking motherfucker, but unfortunately you're stuck with this face. So
Oh, it's absolutely fine. Right, so obviously before we get into it, do you just want to tell everyone who you are, what you do in a quick sort of roundabout way, and then we'll get into more details?
Yeah, well, I'm Appy Droid Development, as you guys know. Mostly I just annoy people on the internet. It's not something that I intend to do. I'm just naturally gifted, so that happens. So yeah, I build apps. I've been building apps since before Android was even a thing. So I started learning building apps because I was a native website developer before, and after I left college and stuff like that. So I already knew how to build apps and stuff like that. So that's how I got started in it. And then when Google Play took over the Android market, I migrated onto there. So I've been developing apps for the paranormal since probably about 2011 up until now. So it's been a long haul, let's say.
Yeah, so before you did the paranormal apps, did you develop anything else, or was it straight into the paranormal apps?
I was actually used to develop for Action Replay. I don't know if you can remember the little cheat card for the Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
I used to develop the cheat codes for that, and shortly after that, I started working on. I don't know if you remember. This is back in the early 2000s. The Gizmondo.
No, early 2000s. I was very drunk.
It came out roughly around the time the PSP came out, and it was a kind of little device, and it basically only had a shelf life of about a year and a half, 2 years, because the company went bankrupt. Anyway, it was a legend little device. If you go and check out, it's called the Gizmondo. I used to develop for the Gizmondo Studios for a very brief time. I was only on the team for about 6 months, and then the company went bankrupt. So that was fun. So
yeah,
I helped release some of the unpublished games and apps for the community after that, just to help the little thing lived for about 5-6 years after the demise of the company. So that's quite fun. What else did I do? I did some stuff for the PSP as well. I used to develop cheat codes for the PSP community when when the PSP was jailbroken.
Yeah.
So I did that. I worked with the NDS and the Wii community as well. So I was developing cheat codes mostly because I already knew how to do it. So a very naughty background, let's say.
It makes me wonder what the other backgrounds are out there, but we won't get into that. So in your opinion, have you ever seen an app on the market that is worth the price tag? I'm not talking about the free for entertainment ones. Have you ever seen?
In my opinion, apps in general, even if they're free or not, it's like physical equipment, right? So you basically have your physical device, your phone. Okay, yeah. And basically the software is written for the phone, so it could take advantage of the sensors and stuff like that. It really depends what the app is trying to do. And my first app was a simple EVP recorder, and it was just a little bit different from the stupid one that came with your phone. So that's kind of how I started with it. And there was the ghost boxes and stuff that were coming out, so I was like trying to figure a way how to get this to kind of work on an app form. So mostly my apps are ghost boxes and EVP recorders, and the latest one is the kind of that SLS camera thing I showed you. But apps in general, they have, because we can't physically detect paranormal activity, we don't know what we're actually looking for. So basically, think of it this way: an app is just like a form of entertainment. With sometimes it has kind of like a logical, mind frame. It's basically an idea. It's an idea. It's like if you're making a YouTube video, you've got to have an idea. You've got to basically address that platform, that genre, and try and figure a way to do something with it that's kind of remotely useful. Unfortunately, a lot of the apps aren't really remotely useful. Most of them are, I'm not saying all of them, there are some that do have some kind of properties that might be useful to you. But most of them nowadays, I've noticed a trend particularly since I started out, there was not really any paid apps or anything like that. If there were like 99 pence or something like that, which is fine. Support your developer. I've no problem whatsoever about you supporting your developers. But nowadays, it's more changed to this subscription-based type things. There's a few apps that are doing it now. GhostTube seems to be one of the ones that have kind of meshed their whole library of apps into one giant sort of ecosystem, if that makes sense. So to basically use the functions in the app, you get a basic set of functions, and the app maybe run for so long before the trial runs out. You then need to use the next game day. Or you can subscribe for a premium, which is like a monthly subscription, just to use tools that are already available out there that probably do a better job. It never really fascinated me the the way I see it is if you're developing an app for a niche community, like the paranormal, for example, we don't know as developers, and if they do say they do know, they're probably lying through the teeth. We don't actually physically know, like investigators, we don't physically know what the fuck we're looking for. So it's it's like, why make you pay for that when you can? I do it because I enjoy doing it. I don't do it for a business or anything like that. So my concern was, if I start doing it as a business, it'll be all about the sale. How can you sell that idea to somebody? So those paid apps tend to have like a different trajectory of where I'm going. I just provide them, and if they work for you, they work for you. If they don't, they don't. Because I believe that if you're out in an investigation, you don't have to be live streaming or anything. If you just go somewhere and you're using an app or whatever, a ghost box, whatever it is, some equipment, if that experience is, if it means something to you, that's your experience. But the trajectory, like the way things are going now, everything seems to be more about the clicks, the views. If the app does something or the device does something, it blinks, it beeps. It's more visual for the audience to believe that's more a paranormal thing rather than rational thinking, if that makes sense to you. It's the way I feel about it. So I've never really sold apps. I've never had a paid app out there. I don't use ads. I don't use any other nonsense, because there's a privy concern which I feel strongly about. So that's why you don't get the ads, you don't get the paywalls, you don't have to pay for anything. You use it. And if something happens, something happens. It's exploratory. It's
So in line with what you said there, obviously one of my concerns that I've had is, and I'm not going to name any apps because I don't want you getting any sort of trouble because of something I've said, but there was a app that asked me for permission to my photo library, my microphone, and my location. And I was like, my photo library? What the hell would they need that for? Do you think that with the amount of permissions that are being asked, that there's a danger for phishing or something like that?
Yeah, that's another thing I've had to deal with a lot, is if an app uses a permission, what that permission's for. Now, Google Play technically is quite strict on the type of permissions you use, and they have to be declared inside. So if you go to the app and then you go to About App, scroll all the way down to the bottom, then go to permissions. And it's a little bit of a tricky thing to get into, but they have to declare what those permissions are for. If it's just declaring it's for app function, like the microphone could be for recording audio. Obviously, if it's a camera app, it needs access to your camera. The file storage could be, if it needs access to your camera roll, the app may have to store the file you record into your phone storage. That's something that Google recently changed as well. Is they're not very happy about apps accessing the storage. Older apps are getting away with it, but they won't support new API levels which are coming out. So recently, I just released an EVP recorder app. I had to go through a bunch of fucking loopholes just to get this on the Google Play Store, because it records audio. So that to Google is a very high risk permission. But because of the way the app handles it, what it does is it stores it inside its own application. You can't physically access that recording, even via the, when you plug the USB port into it, you can't access it. It's stored inside the actual tangible app, inside its own little container. The only way to get that file out the app is to use what's called the Google Share Sheet. So when you click export, it brings up, the little share thing where the trusted applications like Google Drive, YouTube, Facebook, etc., all the shareable apps which are allowed to share it with. And what it does is the Android system makes that file available and says, right, okay, you can share that app, that to wherever you like. And that's basically the way I get around not having to use that permission, if that makes sense. So it doesn't actually store inside your. So if you make a bunch of recordings, you're not seeing that in your music folder or anything like that. It's locked inside that. The only way you can access that is within the app, and you can delete the files within the app. And the only way you can share it is through Google's verified handshake protocols. So you might see more of those types of apps. A lot of the older apps still use old file system, which probably don't work anymore, because to stay up to date with the regulations, a lot of developers had to change the way the apps worked. So in terms of privacy, I would be more concerned about the adverts. Lately you'll see there's a bunch of things you have to tick or uncheck or whatever. That's because it's using your tied advertising ID. It's sharing that with those third-party vendors. Those third-party vendors get a hold of the ID. They have some information like your location sometimes and things like that. That's a big no-no for me as well. So the minute I see an app with all that shite, that's getting deleted. So in terms of safety and privacy, particularly the Android system is fairly robust and safe. How they use that data within the app is another thing. Microphone access could be used to, like those word generators and stuff like that, could be used to create a narrative. It could be passing off to AI, for example, and making something up, which is something I've seen quite a lot lately as well, is the AI-powered applications.
So you've obviously you've backwards engineered certain devices, or you've had devices sent to you that people have bought, they spent a lot of money for, they sent them to you because they broke, and then when you're fixing them, you've noticed
discovered faults and problems. That venture kind of got me into a lot of trouble. I started that about 2023, 2024. People were asking me, I've got this Radio Shack thing or Hack Shack, or the S-Box. S-Box was a big one. A lot of people have issues with them. They just stop working. All they hear is the S-Box turned on, S-Box. But they don't hear any radios because the little board inside is paper thin. And when you're putting it in your pocket, pressing buttons, it's separating tiny little components inside. So they're expensive as fuck. And, people getting about 3-4 months use out of them and they break. So they were sending them into me. So it's kind of uncovering all these faults and stuff. In fact, that's how I met you. Was through the Dead Bell. The Dead Bell was one of those devices. One of my friends bought one, and it was an expensive fucking thing at the time. I think it was about £160 at the time, plus shipping it to the UK, all this, that. So the thing just fucking went off the whole fucking time. So you turned on, it didn't matter where the setting was. Every so often it just went ding, ding, ding.
Every 74 seconds, I think Paranormal Quest timed it as. And then I looked at other videos and the same thing, sort of every 60, 70 seconds.
Apparently they did fix that bug, but I found out that because it's using a little magnetometer sensor inside, I figured out the way when you turn it on, what happened was a little solenoid thing inside. I don't actually have one, or I would have showed you working. But the little solenoid basically energized, which creates a little magnetic field, and it will pull the little plunger in. It's a little thing where it basically pings the bell, makes it ding. So when that's in, when you turn the device on, that little plunger energized, and it went down like that, and it was creating its own little magnetic field. And I thought that was kind of interfering with the little sensor, periodically making it go off. So the people who make it took that on board and apparently fixed it. I later found out I've had like 4 of these dead bells in, all with different problems. One had a battery fault where it just suddenly died. So the guy sent it in to me and he said, "Had a look at it." I discovered that the fucking screw that holds the bell on top was screwed into the battery and it was leaking fluid everywhere. So he was charging it, leaving overnight charging. I'm saying, you're lucky that thing never went on fire because the battery was pierced. And just the things that come out of the companies that sell this stuff seems to be very hit or miss. I don't know how to explain it. I've had the Flux 2 in for repair twice. The little batteries inside seem to just die. There's a few other devices as well. Most of them are devices that other people make, like the Polterpod. I think it was a device made by Paranologies. They're not around anymore. They went bankrupt or something. I don't know the whole backstory, but a few of those little devices came in. I fixed those. I found out there was just a bunch of little broken up radios all shoved inside this thing, the little servo motor which made it go on and stuff like that. There was one called the Geoport. I don't know if you know about that one. It's basically a big speaker and it had a bunch of shit inside of it, almost like a portal. If that makes sense. So basically, you plugged your ghost box into it, and it had a little effects reverb pedal thing inside, and it did a bunch of stuff. I swear to God, I opened this thing up and pulled the battery off, the back cover off, and it was filled with expanding foam to hold everything together. There was toilet tissue popped in. It was all just chopped up wires and a bunch of mess. It took me a week to take all that out. And toilet paper jammed in there, keeping the wires together. Sellotape just round the cables and round all this stuff. I almost had a fit because what I would do is I would take the screws out of the device and film it as I was opening it, and people got a legit reaction from me. So as you can tell, it didn't go very well. So I was like, I was almost in fucking tears because this guy one of my friends sent it to me with another device, which I'll talk about in a second. He sent it to me saying it wasn't charging, stuff like that. So I was thinking, right, just go in there and replace the battery. It took me a fucking week to get all this expanding foam out of there. I almost cried because I was like, this guy just spent a fortune on it. And I was like, what the fuck? How did this even get to the UK in this condition it was in? Because it was literally expanding foam. Everything was just jammed in there. Just do what the other people do and stick it on the fucking side or put it here or there.
Yeah, a bit of hot glue or something.
Yeah. And then I discovered the battery inside, why it failed originally. It was a little Nokia-style batteries, for the old Nokia phones.
Yeah.
And they're repackaged in China, very, very, and they were basically just wrapped in series and without any kind of balance board or anything like that. And it was like a 12-volt fucking generic charger charging this fucking thing. And I was like, please God, just stop what you're doing. Stop doing this shit. Because that is one of the biggest pet peeves I had in the builder side of the community was things just thrown together without any fucking real attention or care what they were doing. Just because it worked, it didn't mean say it was going to catch fire or do something. If your device caught fire in somebody's house, caused a death or caused, their house to burn down, something like that's on fucking you, and it makes everybody that builds anything in the community look like, it affects everybody literally. So
we all remember the horror stories when these things first came out. Vapes when they first came out. People were plugging them in. They were blowing up on their bedside tables, blowing up in people's hands and stuff because they were so cheaply made. I'm shocked that we haven't heard about some of these devices when they're on charge going bang.
Because a lot of them do use lithium batteries, which is something I'm very careful of. If a device has a lithium battery in it, I have to make sure that everything's matched. The components are like the ghost boxes example. The ghost boxes I built all run on the 18650 batteries.
Yeah.
But the component I put inside, I don't know if I've got one here. I should have had all this out, but I don't. I don't have any anyway. You probably know what I'm talking about. It's a little Arduino Nano. And the ghost boxes I build, this little Arduino Nano is powered from the radio itself. It's not connected in a way where it would cause a problem. Other types of ghost box area, you'll probably notice they've got 9-volt batteries strapped to it, or this other thing fucking strapped to it. So they're basically running this ghost box, which basically runs on 3.7 volts, and then they've got a 9-volt battery injecting voltage into the radio to make it sweep. So it doesn't make sense to me. So I do a different way. I use a lot of Arduino Nanos. I program them to basically inject voltage into the radio, which makes it sweep. And I can do it. I can program it to do all different fun stuff as well. But a lot of these devices are using the lithium batteries, which is quite concerning, because I've seen a few that come to me in terrible condition, and I beg to differ why this stuff hasn't blew up in somebody's face or done something.
It's only a matter of time, isn't it?
Yeah. So instead of trying to be over biased, and I did videos on these, and I didn't call anybody out. I basically said, this is what it is. This is a problem. This is what I found. It has black tape around it. This could be a safety concern, this or that. And of course, people don't like it.
Yeah, well, you
try bring some sort of education to the field. I just want to change the standards. Bring up the standards. Make it a little bit more honest what the devices are doing, and just fucking do it properly. Don't be jerry-rigging shit together just because it works, and then sell it for a couple £100 and then think that's it.
Yeah, so obviously I got a comment on screen there. REM pods are almost $300. That's just insane, especially when a phone can set it off. What's the point? I mean, if I know you know how to build a REM pod and you know exactly what's in them.
Yeah.
How much does it cost for you to build a REM pod using the? I mean, you know where they've sourced most of this stuff from. I know the different companies you may source.
Yeah.
But an average cost for you to build a REM pod, how much are you looking at?
The little kit is actually, most of them are built with a little junior theremin kit.
Yeah.
And it's basically like a little toy musical instrument that you can put together. It's a DIY kit. That's what it's for. And basically what it does is it has a little antenna, which people say it gives off an EMF field. It's not really an EMF field. What it is detecting capacitance. So when it kind of stabilizes around, equilibrium. I don't know how else to say it, but basically around the antenna, when you put your hand towards it, it's kind of doing a grounding effect, so it detects it.
Yeah. It's
not giving off really EMF or anything like that. So anyway, that's basically all what's inside them. Is this little junior theremin kit? They put inside whatever they want and put the lights on, stuff like that, and that's basically it, a little antenna. The kit cost, I believe, around £10 to £16 for the little kit. And then you've got the enclosure. The closures are usually just prefabricated little things that they buy and then put the stuff in there and just hot glue everything in. And I believe that the actual, the real REM pod, I don't know how to describe it. The people actually make the actual REM pod. They did a new revision.
Yeah.
So that's probably more custom because it has like temperature sensing and stuff like that. But the fact that you can basically set it off a little remote control, you could put something like this, which is a little remote control for garage doors or whatever, or your key fob for your car. You can put in your pocket and sit there and click the button.
Yeah, I was at, I think I messaged you about it. I was at Bristol Clock Tower, Warmley Clock Tower, and I'm 2 stories up, and Kev Kerr is 2 stories below me, and I can hear him through the floor talking about REM pods. And I'm with another group, and I said, "Watch this now." And I clicked, and you could see my indicators on my car go off, and then you heard the REM pod beep. Yeah. And I did it again, and it happened again. And then Kev's like, "This doesn't normally happen." But he was giving an example of why they're not very good pieces of equipment for recording. And then I did it again, and then he shouts up 2 flights of stairs. "Is that you fucking about?" I was like, "Yeah," but he said, "You got a radio?" "No, it's my car keys." And he went, "No way." And then everyone's pressing their car keys. And just like amazed that he was setting it off.
It's because it's susceptible to radio interference. So like even a little key fob, it doesn't give off a lot of energy, but it has about 4 or 5 meters range, so it would easily detect it. Yeah. And as you know, being a debunker, you've seen REM pods and stuff in people's videos, and most of them are probably just clicking something to make it go off. Which these types of equipment, I think that's why a lot of people like them, is because they can easily be faked. Because as you know, when you go on an investigation, it's mostly fucking dead the whole night. It's boring as fuck.
Like I've used all of the equipment. I've used it. I've got a shelf full of it there. I've got all the stuff out there that I've used.
Yeah.
Over the years. And there's a guy in the chat tonight, Dean. We used to go out and we were like, apart from the cat balls, nothing ever goes off.
Yeah.
Or if it does, we know what caused it to go off.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how are all these teams going there and getting these responses on demand? And it's
because
like,
they've figured out how to manipulate them.
Yeah. I've seen people obviously put the aerial, they've slackened the aerial off so little breezes move it and that sets it off. I mean, I got a copyright strike over that. Some guy asked me to look at his video, and I was like, right, cool. The aerial, I can see it moving in the breeze, and that's when it's going off, and the temperature sensor's changing. He copyright struck me for it. So, right, have you ever seen the Deadcom EVP spirit boxes by Dark Arts TV that sell for $169.99? Jesus.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's a little. It's an M5 stack. It's a little thing. I've got one somewhere. See, I should have brought all this stuff out. It's the same thing I used to develop the Partech low handheld. It's a little tiny square device, and you basically just program it. It basically comes off the shelf. It's made by M5 Stack, and it's a great little device. I mean, the devices are great, and you can custom put a firmware in there, whatever you want to do, and the devices are quite expensive, about £45-50, depending where you buy them. I have to buy them from America if I buy them, because the only place that sells them in the UK is down south in England somewhere, and they won't ship stuff up to Scotland. I don't know fucking why, but go figure. I was pleading and begging with them. Look, I could buy a lot of these if you just send them up to me, because I'm having to wait for this guy in America sending them. It was a legit manufacturer in America that makes them, and they all sold out, and they brought out a new version. Anyway, so that's basically all it is. So the little device is about £45-50. It maybe need an SD card. If it's got like a 3D printed case, you're talking about 2-3 pence for a case. The total cost to make that, go figure, it's probably in the range of £60 a maximum, including tax and all the rest of it.
Wow.
And there's another device out there called the Alice box, which is using the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the new version. So I'm surprised it's not been on the Most Haunted TV show yet.
Yeah, I've seen the Alice box in so many places, and it was you, I think, that pulled one apart.
Yeah, it was for a customer of mine. He found some problems with it. The battery wasn't lasting very long and stuff like that. So he sent it to me, do something with it because it's annoying me. So the minute the guy that makes them found out, he was on the blower to the guy that's sending it to me, saying, no, send it back to me. Because I was actually friends with the same guy that builds them. And I said a long time ago, it doesn't matter who the fuck makes stuff. If it lands on my desk and it looks like a piece of shit, I'm going to say it's a piece of shit. So eventually that's what happened. I was very respectful about it. And, you know, like, it looked like a very unfinished device just kind of thrown into a box. It didn't have any EMF or anything like that. It was basically just a little board with the screen on it. And there was a little SD card thing just dangling about inside the fucking box. And on the SD card was actual files, the audio files that say the words. There's about 2,000 or something little audio clips, and all the device is doing is digging into the database of the little words that are on the SD card, pulling out the MP3 file, displaying what word it is, and then it plays the sound. And then it's got this little flashy fucking ring that's supposed to point to where the fucking energy came from. It did nothing. So it was basically just pulling random sounds from the SD card. And
so these devices with the SD card and it's just triggering random words, are there actually things in them to detect changes in the atmosphere, or is it all just random timers?
There are, but I'm going to actually try and explain to you how this works, and this applies to apps and everything. If they say they're using EMF or anything like that, it's probably just, you know, when you put your vape near it, you know, it detects the magnetic field, and that sets off the trigger to pull the random word. Putting that near it is not making it pull a random word from the, you know, a physical word tied to that value, because I need to explain to you about resolution, right? So the typical scope for EMF on a phone device, for example, you'll probably only get about 250 something values from that. And if you increase the resolution to microtesla, for example, which gives you about 480, it basically doubles how far the resolution goes. But then, you know, how does a spitter know how to pull that word out? Because the fucking thing's jumping all over the place. It's just going to pull random words within that scope. So it makes a terrible generator, because I've tried it, for one. It didn't work very well. You're better off just using random seeding, which most of them do. Random seeding being generated from an EMF static sensor and stuff like that, for example. So it could use the EMF on your device to generate that random seed, which kind of influences it, but it's not like saying, oh, that EMF value is that, so it then has to be this word, because the resolution is far too short. It would only have about 200 to 500 words in the dictionary. You'll then get repetitive words, and they'll mostly be within the kind of scope like that, instead of using the words out here.
Yeah.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I mean, I get questioned about apps and stuff all the time, and they're like, what's the best one for ghost hunting? I'm like, well, none of them are the best for ghost hunting, because we, as you've said, we don't know what a ghost is, if they even exist. So it's down to the especially on YouTube, it's down to the channel owner or the person putting out the video to say, you know, these are experimental, or some of the channels say they use these word devices or like ghost tube, things like that. They don't use them as proof of anything. They use that because they start running out of things to say after 6 hours.
That's it, because they do eventually lead the investigation, and that's one of the dangerous routes going down. If your app is saying look out or this, most of them have got the words already built in. I've got a little demonstration to show you as well, how I figured out something else. But basically, that app or device can only say what's in that device. A spirit can manipulate that to say something completely else, you know, something different. So that doesn't make any sense. So the vocabulary of what that can say is basically programmed into it. And most of the words are geared towards investigations like kill, murder, die, death, you know. And I was trying to figure out a way to kind of step away from that generator, and I actually built an app, which is just to demonstrate how random city could actually probably be useful for paranormal. I'm not saying it is paranormal in any way, shape, or form, but it's called, if I can find it, where is it? This was something I've been experimenting for a while, and it's called the Paratic Oracle. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah.
So what this can actually do is it can generate a whole sentence all by itself, right? And it's called it's basically called linguistic vector entropy engine, which basically means it's linguistic because it knows how to create a sentence. It just doesn't know what to put the words in. So basically, it has blueprints, and the blueprints are based on English language. So whatever it produces is going to be grammatically correct, right?
Yeah.
So the sentence is going to be grammatically correct, but it's going to be kind of cryptic, if that makes sense, because it doesn't know what words to actually put in there. There's 9 different banks of words. So you've got like verbs and stuff like that. So there's nine different categories that would make up the English language. So you would put like a verb before a vowel and this and that. So the app knows how to construct a sentence. This doesn't know what to put in it. So this app, basically, the minute you press that, it random seeds the whole actual word sentence. It's quite funny. It's more hilarious than anything useful, but it's just to demonstrate.
They're false static.
So
they fall static.
They fall static, but sometimes it says the latest stuff.
Yeah, because you've built me some comedy apps. Like you've made
shadow those ones seals extravagantly underneath some partial cold doubt.
So it can actually construct quite complex sentences, but this is Texas back to front. I've just noticed.
I think it's fine on the stream. Yeah, it's fine on the stream.
Yeah,
it's backwards
so
for us.
The idea with that is it can generate a complete coherent sentence, and if that is mathematically impossible for that app to say something like, say for example, you asked, "Is there anyone here?" and the app then says, "The man is standing behind you." It would be mathematically impossible. It would take trillions and trillions of years for that mathematically to be able to vector that type of sentence. So it's gibberish. It should be gibberish. It shouldn't say anything coherent. That's one of the ways I built it. Is basically it solves the syntax issue, where these word generators are using like prefixed words. So like, I'm scared, this, that, you know how some of them are coming up, and it's just to give that kind of illusion that something's talking to you. Where this app, it doesn't really say anything tangible. It just knows how to make a sentence. And if it does say something tangible, it'll be very strange.
And maybe that's the only time where an app could come in useful. Like, this is impossible, and it's put or next to impossible, and it's giving us something coherent and in line with the question we asked.
Exactly.
Then it's a chance.
That's all it is, an experiment to see if these apps can physically be manipulated to say something tangible. Because the word dialect is there, it knows how to make the sentence. It just doesn't know what to put in there. So if it could be manipulated to do that, it would say something tangible. So that's ultimate proof in my eyes. Like you were saying with this other app, you wanted me to look into, again, it's contextual. So basically whatever avenue the app developer wants to put in there is going to lead you on that journey, because it's going to, whatever they're putting in, it's only randomly picking that sentence, word, whatever it is. It's showing a random image, for example. There's some other apps are using AI to generate the images, and because the camera is on, it's listening to what you're saying. It could be taking cues, like visual cues. It could be taking things that you're saying. So it's feeding the AI something, because AI only works with prompts. So you have to prompt it to basically have any kind of neurological influence on what you're trying to say. So it has to be prompted first. It probably has pre-programmed prompts to do something, like give you a spooky image with something, or a murder scene or something like that. It could be saying that, but it could also, because the camera's running, is listening to your voice. It could be taking those cues to kind of generate a more real image.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bit fake, if you ask me.
I've used apps that use AI imagery, and it's just nonsense. And I've seen people trying to link every image that comes through to a location, but that image is so vague in the first place, and the AI is clearly being told to make it spooky. Because not very many of these apps are doing like a nice image. There's always a shadowy looking thing there, and lilies and things you'd associate with death and stuff.
Exactly. So it's probably pre-programmed with a context in mind, knowing that investigators are going to be using this stuff. I was just a little bit concerned, because the ghost tube is quite famous for it. Why you would need a camera on when you're using a Ghostbox app, I don't know. And everything seems to be revolved about the camera, the microphone's on. It could be saying stuff that's in the list. It could just be listening to you. But this other app you were talking about, it seems it's only triggered by EMF. So the minute you put something near it, it's being triggered.
There was
whatever's in there is basically pre-programmed to say a narrative, basically.
When I went to, or me and Dean went to North Wales, it was a 4.5-5 hour drive. So I said to him, put the ghost tube on, stick it on the dash, and while we're up there, we'll just every 5 or 10 minutes just say the name Brandon. And we did it over and over and over and over again. The third word out of the app at the location was Brandon. And I'm like, that's clearly
because it already has the microphone permissions. It could be taking silent recordings. They would really have to be disclosing that in the app somewhere if it is, because to stay on board with Google Play's policies, first things first, you have to be completely transparent what this data is for, what it's being used for. So as I said, if you're very concerned about the way the app is working, go into the permissions and go to the privacy policy on the developer's website. It should tell you exactly what the app is doing, what it's being used for. If they're not, they're basically breaching policy terms and stuff like that. So they have to be very careful what they disclose as transparency as well.
See, Roger's just reminded me of something there. He's put, yes, it's called phasmophobia. One of my friends, he questioned one of the he questioned all of the app developers, and only two were willing to speak to him. And one was like, "We'll give you the code in if you want it." And when he looked, he was like, "This is the same thing used from something from Unreal, and it's from Phasmophobia. It's the same spirit box used in the video game for Phasmophobia." He's like, "It's the exact same thing." He's like, "They've literally cloned a video game spirit box designed to scare you and put it into a paid application." I was like, "They can't really."
The funny thing as well, a lot of these ghost apps are built in Unity, things like as a game development software. It's done because it's easy to do. You just drag and drop your UI and then make it do something.
Yeah. So Dina said there, it's like when it said my name after listening to us. That was, I think that was Necrophonic. It's the red and black screen, and it's got like garbled noise. And then you could almost, it's like it was on a loop, but jumbled. The same noises kept coming out.
Yeah.
And then we both look at each other because I'm like, that just said Dean. And at the time, we were quite excited. And then the second time it did it, I was like, if we took the reverb off that, I swear that's my voice calling you.
Recording clippets at the same time. So if you use see, a Ghostbox app shouldn't be using your microphone permissions. Here's another one here. This is an IP Ghostbox. It doesn't have access to microphones or anything like that. And you just press scan, it simulates a scanning Ghostbox.
Yeah.
You've got reverb settings and stuff like that. It doesn't need microphone or anything like that. So it works like a Ghostbox should work. If it's saying things like stupid sounds and stuff like that, it's going to feed into your pareidolia, because our primitive brains are highly tuned devices.
Yeah, because I'm sure there was a place we were at, and there was a name, and we never included it in the video, but we knew the name of a lady that had fallen out of a window at this location and sadly passed away. We never included the section, but we were just testing. And that lady's name came from the same app, and we were like, this is listening to us, surely.
Yeah.
For the chances of it, or was it pareidolia because that's what we'd been discussing? But the thing we took from it was it sounded like our voice with reverb and stuff on it. And then in between, you hear like a woman in the throes of passion, and you're like, if you leave that on for 2 hours, that same noise will randomly, sporadically repeat itself.
Yeah.
If no one knows, if no one knows what kind of energy a so-called ghost spirit gives off, how can apps and gadgets be made to pick up on this energy?
That's exactly the problem. We don't know. So not even NASA, the highest scientific computers and stuff like that, we can't capture anything, so we don't know what it is. We don't know. We only know strange stuff happens. Devices and things like that are just kind of made because ghost hunters feel static maybe irrelevance. When you're on investigation back in the old days, before all these gadgets and stuff, you would literally get the chills and the hairs would come up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People believed that was kind of like static. When you put a balloon near you, your hair stands up and things like that. So that's where that all came from, is kind of experiences in the past. So ever since then, this detects static, this detects EMF, all this stuff. It's a ghost hunting gadget. It's a fucking EMF detector, detects wall sockets and stuff. It's repurposed for entertainment.
It's
basically.
Quite sad, really. And this is something World of Mr. Grey and a few others have said, that it's the same thing. We are still saying that this static feeling or this charge in the atmosphere, it's down to the paranormal. People have they've been investigating it now for decades, and we still have no proof. So why are people still latched onto that? We need something new, something different.
Yeah.
Because I went to 30s Drive and I put on a Tesla coil, and everyone just looked at me like, "What's that banging?" And I'm like, "It's my Tesla coil." And I'm like, if spirits can feed off static as opposed to, it's stupid to say they can feed off energy. Use my battery when there's plug sockets in the house.
Yeah.
Can I just plug into the mains? So if I flood the house with static, let's see what happens. And all the devices went off. And one of the guys I was with said, that's like somebody's walked through the house and up the stairs. And I said, yeah, it is. Until you realise it's probably just the wave of static pushing out across the house.
That you're carried with you.
Yeah.
Because
So
not only people don't realise that people give off static as well, we also absorb static very well as well.
Yeah.
And that was one of the little devices I had called the micropod, which only detects moving static. That's all it does. And that's built into the little bell thing I sent you. There's got 2 little antennas that detect moving static charges. Also has the 2 passive infrared sensors on here just for shits and giggles. But if you got a balloon or like a carrier bag, generated some static on it, and you put it next to it, it doesn't go off.
When you
might go off
sent me
initially.
you sent me one device, and you were like, right, this one will run off static. Here's a piece of like plastic, rub it against your hair, put it in front of the device. So something I wanted to tell, obviously, the people watching is the devices that you made.
Yeah.
I think you do it for everyone, but you send, or you can send if requested, PDF documents of exactly how you've made it, what it can detect, what it can't detect, things like that. Is that something you do for everyone, or is it just because I asked?
Well, the thing is, I was very transparent with the devices I was building. I'd always video them. There'll be 2 or 3 videos in basically showing the concept. So the little micropod device basically showed how it worked. You put next to a plug socket, detects the AC, oscillating power coming from it. It detects static. That's what it was designed to do. And then I put on top of a desk fan, a little heater desk fan, put on top, and it doesn't go off. Even though there's a lot of magnetic energy there, it doesn't go off. So it resists. So that was a kind of thing that I did to basically.
Yeah, I tried it with my vape and the microwave. I did it.
It might initially blink or something the minute it detects it, but unless that static charge is moving around, it ain't going to detect it. And there was a little kind of test code that basically had a test, so it had to detect it went from positive to negative before it would even alert you. So initially it might detect the bag or whatever you're trying to generate static with coming in, but if you left that there, it's still statically charged, and then it won't react because it isn't moving anymore. So that's how that worked. And that was basically to kind of have a way, because it works in the exact same way the REM pod would work, except it isn't giving off any energy, it isn't doing any of that. It's simply just looking for a static charge.
So the question on there, does turning on airplane mode actually do something? I always assumed that putting your phones into airplane mode was just so you don't interact with your K2 meter or your REM pod on accident. But I know a lot of the apps see to turn, you can put in airplane mode and
there's no real point to it unless you've got like K2 meters and stuff around, because the K2 meter still detects your phone when it's on, even in airplane mode, it'll still detect it, because the minute it's doing any processing, it's giving off little pulses of energy anyway. The reason why people tell you to turn it off is kind of when the apps first started coming out, is because it was interfering with other devices in the area and stuff like that as well. Phones are a little bit different nowadays. They work in higher bands, so it shouldn't really affect equipment, apart from EMF detectors, the shit ones from Amazon and stuff like that. The ghost hunting EMF detectors. So
that none of us were ever using. I used them for years. And then when Kenny Biddle did his thing, right, to get a baseline reading, it's got to be spun this way and then this way. And then as soon as you move to do your next reading, that last reading behind you is pointless. And to do a room would take you hours, and you've got to start all over again. You just constantly got to be spinning it all axes. So there's one on screen now. Don't you think, since phones keep track of your GPS location, the apps on the phone would use that and know what haunted places around you are?
Yeah, well, again, it has to be declared in the permission. So the key to everything, if you want to disclose how an app works, The key to it is looking at the permissions it needs. If it needs your location, it's going to ask you for it. That's another security thing on Google added as well.
Yeah.
If it needs your microphone access, it's going to ask you for it. If it needs your camera access, it's going to ask you for it. If the app doesn't appear to use any of those features, if it asked for it, and then that would be the question of why we need it. So,
Joe Vitale's got a good one.
Yeah.
A certain Spirit Talker app, I won't say which one, a developer claims he used machine learning. Do you know anything about that? Is that true? Because the information I'm getting is no.
Yeah, I think there's two. There's two that claim that use. One is the Tusi couple effect, which is again another bad algorithm. It's only a linear algorithm. Again, like using an EMF meter. Sorry, using an EMF sensor. The resolution is tiny. It's a pointless thing, and it's only going up and down. So if it is scanning a list of words going up and down like that, and then the EMF stops it at that precise word, it makes absolutely no sense. You're better just using the random integer, just call a random number and pull it from the list. What was the other one? Sorry, sidetracked. What was the other one? Machine learning. So, as I said, these apps that use the word generators are not machine learning or anything like that. There's nothing complex there. Everything that app says is basically written in there, hard written in there as a word library. So machine learning. So you're talking about like ultra processing, quantum physics, and stuff like that. So machine learning. You would have to use something like AI to be able to manifest a word, and then again, the AI needs prompting, so it needs something to prompt it. You can't just give it an EMF value and tell AI, right, generate a sentence based on that value. It can't fucking do it because it's going to look at you like you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So machine learning, I think you're talking about one of the Alice apps or this other thing using machine learning. It's a word generator. It's like every other one, it just does it in a different way. There's some do this, some do that. Ultimately, the results are going to be random. No matter how many sensors you throw at it, the results are going to be random. So you might as well just use random. A random algorithm is already built into the software.
Yeah. So feel free not to answer this. I won't mention the particular TV show and stuff, but you developed or gave things to a TV show and then got burned with that, didn't you?
Yeah. It wasn't because of the TV show. Basically, what happened was back when I was doing the videos on devices, that I can't say it because this company also did a lawsuit thing as well. Yeah. It's basically based on one of these little things. And as you can see up the top here, there's a little antenna.
Yeah.
So this is basically what was inside it. To be fair, it was one of the best put together devices I've seen. So landing on my desk, basically the customer, all he wanted was to basically expand the library because I had about 2,000 words. The company that makes it is very transparent on the website. They says this and that. The thing I had a problem with is claiming that this was an EMF thing, and it basically pulled the word in basically through EMF values, which wasn't the case. It was using random seeding through EMF values, which is kind of like how the Paratech worked, one of the devices I made. And if I had said that, I wouldn't have had a problem. That's the only problem I had with the device. Started getting YouTube takedown notices and all sorts of stuff. Anywho, the host on that TV show is also friends with this guy and promotes his stuff as well. He then kicks me off the groups and all the stuff without any warning, anything like that. I got a bit pissed off, asked him, got no response. He was then bringing out an app. So I went and put an app on with the same name, just something just to annoy him. And it was basically just to get a response, just to see what the fuck was going on, because I had no idea.
Oh.
Like I'd send you all this stuff. It didn't even matter to me, the cost of the things, anything. I was happy to send it, things like that. And never got a response. The next thing I get is a letter through the post, a cease and desist and all this stuff. Big pile of nonsense, but it wasn't to do with the TV show, even though the guy from the TV show was using it on the TV show.
Yeah, you would
So-
think though that with these developers and with these TV shows, that when somebody says there's an issue with it, they'd be thankful, and then it's something they can work on and something they can discuss, and instead just like, yeah, shut him up.
Just not shut down. No, that's because it's favoritism. You know, it depends how many things are being sent to you.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
he's
awful.
higher priority because I'm getting things all the time. You know, that kind of thing. So it's favoritism.
Yeah.
The guy I was sending the stuff to, he was happy to pay for the stuff. I was like, no, it's a prototype. I'm going to send out. Sometimes there'll be 3 or 4 versions that were sent out and stuff like that. And I said, just use on the show. Then the amount of times this stuff got shown on the actual physical TV show was maybe once every 2-3 episodes, maybe something was shown. So it wasn't like it was, oh, this is so cool, I'm going to go and buy one of those because it was shown on the TV show. People were thinking it was like you must have been sending it to get kind of recognized.
Recognition.
I was already recognized before. If anything, the stuff being on there probably did something for the TV show.
Yeah, it's
I've been building ghost boxes for fucking since 2011. Stop your shite.
yeah. I mean, one of the most shocking things I've seen recently was you came to me with, right, I've developed this. What do you think of it? Anything? I'm not a developer. I'm not a smart guy. So I was like, there's nothing I can add to it. But from what you're telling me, this thing does. And then I tested it. And so basically, it was an SLS device that doesn't work like the others. You stick it in a wall. You stick it in the corner of a room.
Yeah.
And then if something moves, it activates. And then you investigate what has moved, what has caused it. And I'm like, that's fantastic for debunking, because if a cat, a rat, a person, or something has walked into that room, as a debunker, we know what's caused that trigger or that sound or something like that. And then, a week later, I'm like, holy shit, that exact same app has come up. I'm not going to say who. It's appeared. Somebody else has actually it looked the same. And I'm like, but he still fucking broke it. It's still picking up. Yours didn't pick up stick figures on the sofa and all the rest of it. When my wife didn't move, it didn't pick my wife up. When she moved, there was a stick figure, and I was like, "Did you put a smiley face on that?" And then I've watched his thing, and it's like it's
the fucking
it's picking up everything.
Yeah. I had to download it just to see. So basically, I'm going to show everybody what the app is. So it looks a bit weird, but basically it has different modes, so you can do different modes. You've got different that's just the wire matrix modes. You have your normal camera view, night mode, sort of like a night vision style thing. So that's the main mode here. Is it the right mode? This is the one here. It's basically it's like a computer vision program. It's basically called motion matrixing. So if I hold the camera as still as possible, it detects even the tiniest movement, so it's very hard to do. So you'll see the kind of background kind of fading off. If it was on a tripod, it will go completely dark.
Yeah.
So the idea is anything kind of moved, and as you can see, it's got like a trippy effect because I've got the motion kind of blurring on. So if anything kind of moved, you'll be able to see the actual trajectory where it went as well. Yeah. Not only that, is if you go into the settings, there's another mode. Auto video capture. So that is enabled basically when you press the record button. So the idea of what you have to do is you have to set a tripod, make sure there's nothing green on the screen, make sure it's completely dark. There's settings in here to turn the noise gain up and down. So basically make sure the screen is completely dark. And then you would just simply press record and fuck off and leave it. It would automatically record. So if a skeleton was mapped, it would record that. And also if anything moved on the screen. So because it's I'll explain better how it works. Basically, it takes 2 frames, two frame captures, and it analyzes each frame at the exact same time. So it detects if a pixel is shifted. If it does, and then highlights that as a green sort of outline, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's basically like edge tracking. So basically it detects edges and stuff like that. So it knows if it's a figure, it will kind of have a figure outline. So if any motion's detected in that as well, even dust particles. So you have to be very careful.
Yeah.
I was testing. I did a demonstration, a dust storm. I basically patted on the duvet and I had the flash on the back of the camera on, and you could see all the little dust particles flying about, which could be perceived as orbs. So that's something to be aware of. That's why it doesn't have the built-in flash on the app. Don't use a built-in flash because anything goes near that is going to highlight it. If you got that off, but any kind of movement at all, you literally see it like moving about.
Yeah, when you sent me that and you asked for my input on it, I was just genuinely impressed that it was an app for a change where I could see a use for it. I'm like, if you're in a building and you hear a bang, you go in the room and, oh, sweeping brush has fallen over. But that is then, you've got the video recording mode on, wind it back, have a look, and you're like, oh, actually something, a rodent has scurried in. And for that type of thing, absolutely fantastic for debunking or evidence, or to say, well, that sweeping brush has gone against gravity and fallen over. But when I saw it pop up from another developer, I was like, you bastard. I've only discussed this the other day.
One of my friends who's heavy into the apps, he loves all my apps and every other app, and he's a bit conkers, but he was like, I saw something like yours, you need to see it. So on a mission, karate chopping and stuff. So, and I couldn't believe it. I literally just posted the app on I think it was just before December, and it was an application based on, I have the same one for the Windows computer as well. You can use it for the Windows computer too. So I was then porting it to the Android phone, and literally within a few days of posting that, this one was already published, and mine wasn't getting published. And I was like, "What's going on here?" So I had to contact the Google services, the developer. It's like you send a support ticket and they look into it. And so I had a chat with the guy there, and he says, "Look, it's been flagged for likeness or passing off." So they've got technical terms. So they thought I was passing this app off as another one. I was like, "Do me a favor, check the dates of when this other app was published." So they did that. They said, "Right, yours was uploaded first, but his was accepted first because you've got quite complex permissions in there. We have to kind of look into that." And I says, "Look, this app was actually a legacy app from a Windows app. So I had to prove that the social media posts that I was putting up about the Windows version." I said, "Look, this has been in development for ages."
Yeah.
I says, "This guy's just saw that and fucking decided to go and put the app out. Probably not realizing it would cause a problem me getting that app up there." So I was a bit pissed off about it. I mean, by all means, do whatever, but don't make out the fucking idea was yours.
No, it was. I couldn't believe what I saw, and I'm like, it was a clone, but I think his was a paid.
It's done quite badly.
I
actually bought it to test it, and then I got a refund.
Yeah, it's
just to quickly test it.
$3.99 that.
And I think I sent you a video of the little fucking skeleton figure. I was passing about the desk and it was mapping to fucking sockets and everything. Little figure, absolutely useless. And I'm like, even the SLS feature in my app, it's AI powered, so it's by a Google plugin called MoveNet. So it's actually looking for a figure before it'll actually lock onto it. Even if you have the setting all the way relaxed to the maximum setting, it still won't really map to anything that isn't a figure. So go figure.
Yeah, Bristol. Sorry to cut you off there. Bristol, Appy Dev's app that we're discussing there isn't paid for, so it's not.
No, they're all free.
They're all free. They're all free. Yeah. So, obviously, before we end, I'll ask you for. You can type in the chat. Oh, you can't do links. At the end, I'll ask. Or what I'll do is if you send me a bunch of links to whatever in Facebook, I'll then pin it as a comment at the end of the live stream, and then people can go and.
Or you could just go to go to the Google Play Store. Just type in Appy Droid or Appy Droid Development. They all appear. Just click on one of the apps and then click on the green bit, the green text in Appy Droid Development, and then it brings up the whole storefront. The apps are free. I mean, they don't have ads. They don't have any nonsense in there, paid walls or anything like that. You just try them for free, and if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. there's no harm in it, you know.
Yeah, I
then
like the idea.
yeah.
You go into a poltergeist house or what's alleged to be a poltergeist house, and you can set that device up in the corner, just leave the room to it, and then if something moves, you can at least try to work out what's caught. But now
Yeah.
you've got video evidence to back it up as well. Well, that has moved, and
Yeah.
we've got it, and there's no person come in there and done it, or a person has
Exactly,
come in and
yeah.
done it to prove either way.
I mean, you can literally just sit there with the camera in front of you, wait till it goes blank, and just blink your eyes, and it detects even the blinking of your eyes.
Yeah.
It's that sensitive, and you know, that's another good use case for it as well. Is, you know, these haunted objects, like the pram thing is on the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
You could literally just point it there. If that moves in a fraction of a fraction of a pixel, it detects it. It detects it.
So you could see how
Yeah.
long that pram is slowly creeping towards the edge before it finally goes.
Or actually physically falls, and it would map it in real time. The minute it sees any kind of movement, it starts recording, and then if it doesn't see any movement again, it waits another 5 seconds just in case anything else moves, and then it stops the recording and saves it. You can then just go into the evidence folder and look, and you can actually play it back on the phone as well, so you can play it back in real time. And if you like it, you want to review it later on a bigger screen, for example, you can export it to Google Drive or whatever. And you just need to make sure that the auto record is on, otherwise it'll just take a recording.
Yeah. So Empty Sound saying, I want an app that does something similar to voice to text for investigating. I ask a question, I hit the microphone button, and the microphone will stay on for as long as I want it to.
Is that like speech recognition? Like I'm trying.
I'm not sure.
I'm going blind. I can barely see the. I want an app that does something with voice to text. So basically, yeah. I mean that Google has a thing like that. It's like the transcribe. The thing is, the microphone can only stay on for so long because there's a privacy thing. If you leave on too long, it will just generate lots of nonsense on the screen. But I think I know what you're talking about. So basically, if it hears an EVP or something, it'll transcribe it. I've experimented with stuff like that in the past, but it doesn't really work because the algorithm is quite. The speech recognition is a funny wee thing. I've even tried adding it to ghost boxes and stuff like that, and it just randomly says shite. It's
Yeah, the problem with a lot of the microphones and especially certain EVP recorders is the second you leave them just to record, it starts making its own noises up. You'll hear like hissing and whirring and things. I mean, the DR60 is the most famous one for it.
DR60 is a fucking load of it. I've actually just released an EVP recorder. I don't know if you've seen it. It's this one, and it uses the best quality microphone. Some phones have different quality microphones. It picks the best one. It records in .wav format, and it has a slight boost in the curve, so it's even able to pick up very far noises away, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's all it does is records. So you record, and you get the little view, like like that. You can tell it's recording. You can record as long as you want. There's a little timer at the top there, and once you're done, just press stop, and then you can play it back. And you get the little view. And it's high quality. It's high quality as fuck. It's like that. You get super amazing quality. And then you can also tap on the tape deck, and that's your evidence in here. So you can delete it and stuff like that, and just go in there. It's a very, very simple recorder, but it has the oscilloscope view. It also has the bar view. So if you're asking a question, let's say when I'm talking, you'll see it move. It's picking up my diesel heater. So you ask a question, and you'll just simply monitor the thing for any spikes. If you're not talking or any noises and that thing's spiking, you're probably caught an EVP.
Oh, I like that.
And it's high quality. It's not like those stupid DR60 clones where it makes everything a fucking thumb demon. So you're asking a question, is anybody there?
But that's exactly what they've done, though. They've cloned the DR60 because you see people doing that with their fingers.
DR60 only records in like fucking 32 bit per second or something. It's fucking astronomically bad. And there was also a problem with it. It was a recall in them. back when they were making them, because this is a very ancient digital recorder.
Yeah, they were
So it was picking up like
something
it was
dictaphones.
picking up radio stations and all sorts of shit.
Yeah,
so
and now people are paying $3,000 for them.
$3,000, $4,000. I've actually got one here. It's not the recorder, but it's the Pana box.
Yeah,
They were converting these into a ghost box. It's a little radio. It's made by the same company.
yeah, I've seen them because I've mistaken that.
Yeah,
I mistook one for a DR60 in a video, and the guy came back to me and was like, "Ah, you idiot! It's not a DR60. It's whatever." And I was like, "It's a fucking radio. That's not a voice
it's a radio,
recorder."
and they're converted into a ghost box, and it's not even a proper ghost box. All it's doing is a little microchips put inside it, and when you scroll the wheel,
yeah,
the little microchips intercepting the little mechanism. It's called a digital encoder, if you know what I mean. And basically, it's got three little prongs inside, and they connect a little probe to the prong, and it basically simulates you doing that. And the fucking thing, because Huff Paranormal is using it, he sold his for like $2,000, and then the guy made them. He only had like 10 or 15 of them, and that was all he was doing. These fucking things were selling for ridiculous prices. Just buy. I've got the little ghost boxes for like 50 quid. if you want one that works. I'm not saying it's going to pick up ghosts, but
yeah, like obviously the stuff you sent out to me, I've taken in locations, and then other people are pulling out the recognized brands. They're putting them down, and they're like, "Oh, yours hasn't gone off." I'm like, "Yeah, because mine fucking works."
Exactly.
It's like, what would be the maximum distance range on your app? I think we're talking about the EVP recorder there. If the phone was set up downstairs, would it pick up noises upstairs or in the next room, etc.?
Yeah, it would. It's very, very sensitive. So that's the whole idea of the EVP recordings back in the day when they were just tape recorders. They would have the gain. We would set the gain all the way up. And then we discovered that these old tape recorders could also pick up radio waves. So then what we used to do is put them inside biscuit tins, just like, you know, a Danish cookie tin, put inside there, close it, fuck off somewhere, and then come back and see if there was an EVP. And that's the way we did it, to kind of limit not only the noise aspect, but the thing as well. But it's essentially just a high gain recorder. That's all that app does, is a high gain recorder. It's got a slight curve, so it's able to pick out that, the very detailed sound. You put your headphones on, you'll hear things that you're not even hearing in the room. It's like having your highest quality microphone on, and you know how you've got gain controls, things like that.
Yeah, and so instead of me spending however much on like a H2 or Zoom H2 or whatever.
Yeah, that would do the exact same, because phones have great microphones in them.
Yeah,
especially the latest phones have absolutely great mics in them, and they could be used for EVP recording. Just some of the apps tend to focus on the low bit rate, which is not what we're wanting. We're wanting the highest quality we can get, uncompressed, because the minute you start compressing it, you're losing out. The silent data bits are getting blanked out by zeros, and you don't hear that stuff. So the silence when you're not talking, that's when you're listening back to MP3 recordings. You're kind of hearing the audio modulate. It's the ducking effect is getting blanked out. That's no good for EVP. And people are like, go and make it sound like the DR60. And I'm like, no, because it's shit technology.
So I've seen the question a couple of times in the chat a little bit earlier, and they're asking what got you into ghost applications or ghost hunting applications as opposed to other stuff. Were you a paranormal investigator or?
Yeah, I mean, I've been investigating since I was a teenager. I mean, I've been to places like Gilman Cove, things like all about Scotland. And I used to just do it as a bit of fun because I've seen it on the TV, like most people. And I thought this was great, go out and do stuff. And most of the time it was just with a little recorder, a little dictaphone recorder, just going about asking questions and stuff like that. Just basically doing nonsense like that. I wasn't very serious or anything like that. And then as I got into sort of my mid-20s, late 20s, start seeing things like ghost boxes appearing, things like that, things that kind of piqued my interest. And at first I thought, wait a minute, there's ghost voices coming out of this radio here. Not understanding about pareidolia or anything like that. But it fascinated me, and I'm like, how can I put this into an app? And I'm like, just
Yeah,
just
I mean-
out of curiosity and just playing about and stuff like that. I eventually got into it, and then
It's
people
easy for
wanted
us
them
to
on
look-
the
It's
Sorry?
easy for us to look back and be like, "Oh, this show was crap. This show was crap." Most of them are crap.
but most of us got into it with them.
Yeah, but A, you got us into it. B, nobody knew any different. We had
That's
to
it,
have
yeah.
the crap to know what worked and didn't
Yeah.
work. I mean, as it is, not a lot of it does. Or it does, but not the way that people tell you it does. You know, this
Exactly.
device captures this because of a ghost. Well, no, it's environmental, and it's up to you as an investigator to work out what that change in the environment was to trigger it, instead of just
Yeah.
shouting "dude, bro, demon" and then fucking run away.
Yeah, because it's entertaining for people. That's mostly why people do it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I was recording a video earlier and I ballsed it up. I didn't have the audio on my PC on, so I've got none of the background. And the whole thing was, you've been on ghost investigations. You go out on an investigation, your first hour, especially in an abandoned, you're shitting yourself.
Yeah,
You're on edge,
exactly.
and then by the time you get 3, 4, 5 hours into it, you know the layout, you know the sounds, and you're not scared anymore.
That's
But then
it.
the more often you do that, the less scared you are, the less likely you are to
Exactly.
react. And
Yeah,
then you're watching these shows. It's like, how are you going for 7 years and you've got
and
progressively
you're
fucking
still
louder?
fucking running about. It's a ghost. Exactly. Nothing fucking scares me except from spiders and angry women. That's what I tell people. So I could
Yeah.
literally go in a dark building and not be fucking scared because I've done it so much that I'm like,
Yeah,
whatever.
it's
Yeah.
like watching horror movies. The first ever horror movie you watch scares the shit out of you. And now
Exactly.
I'm at a point, I still love horror movies, but they don't scare me anymore
Exactly.
because
I'm
you're
the same.
desensitized.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite app on a personal level for giving the investigator some possible evidence on a location?
Favorite type of apps? I would probably still suggest EVP recorders and things like that because there's no. It's taken away the theatrics. It's not using sensors and booping and flashing and doing this shit. If you want to be a focused investigator, use the simplest tools. We used to go investigating with a little compass. This was a very rudimental EVP detector. If there was any magnetic energy in the field, the fucking thing would spin. I never have ever seen it once spin. Things like that, the simplest things. If you must use vibration trackers, use a cat ball or something like that. Something cheap. You don't need expensive equipment. You don't need anything because none of it, even a fucking £400-500 device, is not going to tell you there's a ghost there. It's only going to give you the illusion something's happening because it's beeping and booping. Most investigators don't know what the fucking equipment is even doing, let alone tell you there's a ghost there. It's theatrics. Most of it's theatrics. If you cut out all that, cut out all bias, and just use the simplest things, by all means, a little, as I said before, a little compass or something. Have it as a kind of scientific means of, because if you put that compass down, if it's not being touched or interfered with, it's going to stay pointing north. If it's moving about, something's mucking about with it.
Yeah. What paranormal channel do you think is the fakest? Thanks, Kimberly.
To be honest, I don't watch anything. Honestly, I'm the most boringest fucker alive, I must tell you. Not because it enrages me, because I'm like you, I'm like, I have to say something, and I have to shut my mouth because I get in so much trouble. But I don't watch any channels or anything like that. I used to watch Ghost Adventures and things back in the day, and stuff
so when
like
they
that.
first started with all
When
of
they first
the
started out,
gadgets,
they actually came to
"Holy
Edinburgh.
shit."
They came to Edinburgh. I saw the guy, Zach Bagans. They were running about looking to interview people. This guy is like, as sure as on fucking crack. He's running about the street asking Scottish people for an interview. What do you think about the fucking? I'm like, fuck off, pal. I've got things to do. I didn't know who he was. And I had my kid with me, and I was like walking up just round where they were investigating. I think it was in one of the underground things. I don't know. And they're running about asking locals, and most of the people are like, fucking, I'm not got time for you. What? He's running about like he's on speed.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I went to Edinburgh last summer, and what a beautiful city, historic, and
It's a great place.
it's such an amazing city. But when we actually paid to go on a ghost walk because my daughter wanted to do it, and I'm like, look, they tell you the history and stuff, the horrible histories, and they take you to locations. So
Yeah.
I'm up for it, and it was the cheapest way to go to the vaults was to do one of these tours. And the looks off the locals, they're just walking past, like shaking their head, like look at them, they're everywhere.
I know, it's because we know we've all been down there when we were school children going to visit them, and we know it's a bunch of shite. I actually went on one, and I had the night vision camera.
Yeah.
So it was pitch fucking dark. We're all walking about the vaults, and they're explaining this is where this happened, blah blah blah. And the fucking one of the tour guides were throwing stuff at people, like rocks and things. I was catching them on the thing. I never said a thing when I was in there, but they're throwing things to make it appear like it's because it's pitch dark.
Yeah, I went on this tour. I think there was about 20 of us. And the woman that was sort of leading it, she was like, "You're Beardo, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And nothing happened, funnily enough. Wait, does that EVP app have a live spectrogram in addition to waveforms?
Yeah, it has two. I'll show you. So it has your oscilloscope view at the top. So I'll record it so you can see. There we go. So it has the oscilloscope view like that. So that's actual waveform, and then it has the spectrograph here. I think you're talking about like an actual, like a rainfall spectrograph. It doesn't have that, but that's the basic main two here. So it has the kind of EQ kind of look.
Yeah.
Then it has the actual waveform here. So just to keep it simple, I didn't want to overcomplicate it with thousands of settings and stuff like that. Just simple, turn on, record, fuck off.
How easy is it to create an app? Can the average Joe create an app? No pun intended, Mr. Vitali.
If you want to create an app, the best way to do it is the way I did it for a long time was there's an online thing called App Inventor. You just type in App Inventor, it comes up, and it's simple. It's like Scratch Build or something. You're just plugging in little blocks, and then you build your little UI. You add your assets like your graphics and stuff like that. It's the simplest way to do it. Doing it for like Android Studio and stuff, I'm doing it in two ways. I'm using Android Studio. I'm also using a program called Capacitor, which basically allows me to build basically a little mini website.
Yeah.
And because websites are so advanced, like Java 8 and everything is out now, it's like I've got access to like high quality studio effects, all sorts of stuff, high quality recording, everything like that. And it's all basically in a little website. And then basically this program called Capacitor then converts into an Android app, which I can then muck about with an Android Studio, compile it to Android. It takes a little bit of time to learn it, but if you know how to build a website, you could do it easily.
So the future, obviously, you've pulled back from devices like handheld devices and stuff, haven't you? So is there an app? Obviously, don't say too much in case somebody nicks your fucking idea again. Or is there something sort of on the future that you're looking at? Something maybe we haven't seen before, or an improvement on something that's clearly fucking broken?
Well, basically, all my apps are just ideas. They're no proof of paranormal or anything like that. In fact, I don't believe half of them even have the capacity. Ghostbox apps kind of have a little bit of if they're built properly, you could probably use them. It's not to say the ghost voices are coming out of the app. I tend to believe the sound has been created, like a physical device, Ghostbox or an app. If it has the right kind of frequencies and sounds, it could be picked up on AVP recorder. You might hear voices in the recorder. So have the app and also have a recorder and record it, because the things that are coming out here are more likely to be pareidolia than anything else. But if you've got the thing on recording, you're hearing it and you didn't hear it at the time, I would question that as probably being more evidence. But in terms of apps in the line, the SLS one I just made was the newest thing. I'm going to try and update this one so you can record a raw camera feed and the motion matrix as well. So you've got the motion matrix on, and when it triggers a recording, record both at the same time. So you've got one to compare with to the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've got the raw recording and then this overlaid recording, which is the matrixing. I'm going to try and add that as well. I don't know if it's even possible, but if it is, I can do it.
So Fur Babies Bingo says no iOS.
The thing is, I can actually, the apps that are right now actually would work on iOS, but the thing is, iOS needs you to use a Mac. I don't have a Mac, and I ain't got $1,000 to buy one.
Yeah.
So I do have an iPhone. I've got one here. So I've been trying. The apps I make will work on that. They're cross-platform. They'll work on PC. They even work on the website browser. I've got the website address www.appydroid.net. If you go on there, there's online apps as well. So if you have an iPhone, all you have to do is install Firefox or Google Chrome. So you can use it in desktop mode because it squishes it otherwise. You can use them on there. I've got them actually listed on there. And if you're interested in getting into device building, I've released all the source code from all my devices. They're all on there free for you to get as well. It's actually quite a funny story. The minute I put them up there, I was getting all sorts of questions. So how do we we can understand why there's 1,000 lines of code just to make a few lights fucking turn on.
Yeah.
So all sorts of questions, but there's a lot of help things in there. There's a lot of tutorials and things how to get things working and stuff like that. So if you're interested in even getting into building devices, I've got all this stuff on there as well.
Yeah, that's what sort of drew me to you. There's you. I can't remember the guy's name.
It's Andy Guy.
Andy Guy
from Scryer something. Yeah. I can't remember the. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and his stuff is top-notch quality. One of my friends, Jockey, which runs Paranoia something. I can't remember the fucking group. I should know all this stuff, but my brain is mush. Anyway, he buys all his stuff. He was also buying bits and pieces from me. I was teaching him how to work this stuff as well. Anyway, he's off. He was buying his stuff and he was showing me the stuff's decent quality, and I'm like this. And I'm like, how much did you pay for that?
Yeah.
Because I could build it for cheaper. I said to him, he says, no, I've got this for cheap as hell. It's like.
Yeah, I met him at Paracon, and there was a number of other people selling equipment, and I had brief conversations. I'm not rude to people at all. So Kev Kerr introduced me to him, and he was like, oh, you're a debunker, great, I want to pick your brain. And then he's just pushing all this equipment at me, and he's like, this is how this works, any ideas? And I'm like, this is fucking great. And then I'm like, well, how does this work? How does that work? And much like you, the only one to say this doesn't track ghosts.
Yeah,
this
tells you something.
This device tells you there's a vibration in the area. It's your job to tell what caused that. And I thought that was really cool. And then he's even just got like these little bits, like quality of life bits, like EVP holders, so you can stick certain EVPs into these 3D printed little molds that are they're not expensive. Like, and I was obviously Kev Kerr got me onto it with EVPs. He was like, buy a baby sponge and put your EVP recorder on the sponge, and then it'll dampen out any sort of unwanted sounds. Because the second you're holding one and you're waving it about, or clicking your neck, or you're wearing a wax coat, you've contaminated your evidence.
Yeah.
And
I would always say to people, when you're doing EVP recordings, don't hold the recorder. That's one of my pet peeves as well. Stick it down somewhere. As you say, put on a sponge, something like that, and just leave it record, and then announce when you're picking up and when you're putting it in. So I'm putting a recorder in, just announce that you're doing it. Give it a few seconds and then do your session. Then I'm going to pick the recorder up, so you don't like, oh, what was that strange noise? Because you never told anybody you picked the fucking recorder up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So
the biggest one kept with Kev Kerr, and it was like, why didn't I ever think of that? And he was like, pen and paper, and he was like, and then you mark down when you started your EVP session, when you finished it, time code everything, and even things like how much sleep did you get the night before. How much caffeine have you had? How long was the drive? He was like, because all of that stuff can later play into, your investigation, because if you've been there 4 hours, but you drove 8 hours together, you're knackered,
You're already
calling with the eye
knackered.
phenomena, and then you can take all of that on board. And I'm like, if I knew an app developer, I'm sure they could come up with a digital version of that. Because I was putting a
like a sort of investigation logger type thing.
Because you don't see much in the way of how to record information out there. I mean, you could just use a pen and paper, but obviously people are more digital now.
Yeah.
Just
That's
seems...
the thing as well, but because the app wouldn't be entertaining to anybody, but it would be a handy piece of kit to have. If you're all about the data, you're all about the, keeping a track of, because how many times you've been in an investigation and you're like, fuck, I could have done that, I could have timestamped that, I could have set up 2 recorders, I could have did this. So you have a little list of things to do, because you're so knackered and you're already drove 7-8 hours to get wherever you're going. You've got your little checklist. You could probably have like a little notepad where you can add things and stuff like that. Most phones already have like a little notepad thing in there, but it's not very advanced.
Yeah, but, I was just thinking, something designed specifically for paranormal investigation, because like Kev writes down like what phase the fucking moon is in, because he could trigger off animals to behave different. He's put a lot of thought into what he puts in, and he gives out these little notebooks when you do, because I did his ghost hunting for amateurs course. Yeah. And I paid for it. I didn't ask him, could I go for free and review it? I paid for it. And he was like, when I turned up, he's like, why have you paid for this? I'm like, well, you've got more experience than I have. This guy has worked for, what are they called in the UK? All the, the famous ghost hunters or the famous paranormal investigators in the UK, Maurice Grossman, all them. Same SSPR? No? Oh, it's gone. But he's worked for them, and he used to do residential cases. And I'm like, oh, so how many have you done? He was like, a couple of hundred. I said, how many were haunted? And he was like, none. There was one where I was like, holy shit, this could be the real thing. But then when they were doing the safety checks, mental health checks and things like that, it was like, right. And then the moral implications then of how do I tell her that her house isn't haunted, that she's ill, and I think that's why he stopped doing the residential cases. But again, a nice genuine guy that just goes out there for the truth, and you ask him about devices and apps and he's just like, I've got them all, but
none of them do fuck all. And if they do fuck all, if they're doing something, you wonder why they're doing it, because it's probably not paranormal.
Yeah, I mean, I've got one of those really cheap Amazon REM pods, the little black box with just an aerial on it with an on and off switch. That's it. I've got one of them. It's never ever gone off apart from when the battery runs out.
Yeah.
But I've never used it.
Runs out, the signal drops and it'll just fucking malfunction on you.
Yeah, and I never used it as a ghost hunting device. I used to leave it in doorways when I used to do abandoned properties. Like, somebody comes in, at least we'll know they're coming in.
Yeah,
because there was a night where we got a bit worried because we were hearing voices and we were like, oh my god, it's the ghost. And then we seen a torchlight. It was like, oh shit. And then I walked around the corner as this lovely lady walks around the corner, and she just screamed in my face because she shit herself. So I'm not a ghost. So have we got any questions in the chat? Just put like a capital Q in front of it. I think because we've been doing them as we go in, we probably got through most of them. Use Alexa. You can't hunt ghosts with Alexa, chat, please. Please.
Yeah, Alexa's a very simple thing.
Yeah.
Also, mine's goes. I've got 2 of the Alexa Studios. The things. I mean, you're watching TV and stuff. Occasionally, the fucking rings are coming on the top.
Oh yeah, mine's constantly.
It's detected something.
Mine's constantly stitching me up when I'm live. Right, what's this one? Do you make a stochastic resonance? I don't even know what that is.
Stochastics is kind of like it's almost like an algorithm, but it's not an algorithm. Stochastic is like my brain's because you're asking a hard question. The Oracle app has stochastic seeding. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's a way of defining an array through a random seed. So it picks a random seed. It stochastically finds the list, the word in the list, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But resonance, you've lost me.
All right, he's a developer. CC Miller is a developer and a geek. I've just seen it in the chat there.
Right, okay.
Right, question from Bristol Paranormal. So, what app would you consider the best out of yours to use?
Probably the EVP recorder, the new one, and the SLS mobile. Just for the motion thing in there. But just bear in mind, you have to have it in a tripod. There can't be any. If the minute you pan, zoom, do anything like that, everything's highlighting in green. Has to be nothing on the screen. Click auto record, bugger off and leave it recording. It's not going to record anything until something physically is moved on the screen. You can then go back and check the recordings if there's any recordings. It's a good little Sentry type thing, so you can go away and leave it, bugger off, do something else. It's not going to turn on with sounds or anything like that. If something moved the camera, for example, it would trigger. But it has to see something on the screen before it'll physically trigger. It's just a cool little thing. Something I thought that might be a good tool to use, especially when we have all these kind of sensors to detect motion, the passive infrared sensors, things like that. A million other things can set that off, but this physically has to be visible movement on the screen. So it's a little bit more high tech.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
When you sent me that, I was so like, holy shit, this is incredible. This is something that because you sent it to me before you had the record option. You told me it was coming, but it wasn't quite on there. And I was like, that's incredible to be able to just leave something in a room and then be able to go back to it and like, right, something has moved and this is what caused it, or I can't show what I thought it was absolutely fucking brilliant.
It's just a shame I can't record the live camera at the same time. But you could essentially have two phones.
Yeah.
Record one just raw and then the other one on the app. If you're seeing things moving and you're not seeing things moving on the other one, it would be very strange as well. But just remember, it is using your phone's camera. There's nothing special. The thing with SLS apps as well, mine's is AI PoseNet. The other ones tend to be like a very old version of it because they're all fucking jittering about. It's mapping to all sorts of random shite. This is AI PoseNet, so it's like AI MoveNet. Sorry, it will only detect figures, people.
Yeah.
Can cameras see ghosts? Will they be able to? Do they appear as figures? If the camera can physically see that and you can't, that's the only reason why there would be a stick figure in the way. But you would see on camera. You wouldn't just
see the outline.
You wouldn't just see a stick figure just appear in a doorway because it's mapping the fucking coat hanger behind it.
So do you think anything that can't be debunked has ever been captured on any device, or is it all just pareidolia?
Most things are pareidolia, and the thing is, it doesn't matter what you're using. It could be a physical ghost box, it could be an app, it could be anything. It could be the best engineered piece of equipment ever. If it's making a noise or anything like that, or even if it's a camera taking a picture, pareidolia is everywhere. It's in vision, it's in your hearing, and it's our the best way to describe it is like our primitive brain, part of the fight or flight senses. When you're in a scary location, you're primed for something to go wrong because you're already, your emotions going, your adrenaline's going, you're hyped. As you said, as you get on to the investigation, you kind of calm down. This is boring. Right, time to go home. But the minute you're in there, you're hyped, you're ready to go, you're ready to catch ghosts and stuff like that. And your primitive brain, you don't even realize it's happening. I've been caught it many times, and you might hear something like, "Oh, what's that?" If you're using a ghost box, you start hearing things that you're imagining. Your brain's trying to figure out what the fuck it's trying to hear. So you're listening closely. Oh, it said my name, and to other people, it said Marlon.
The red needle, green needle thing.
Exactly, and there was also another demonstration with a piano, which was wired up to a vocal synthesizer. So this piano was just playing piano notes, and you could hear what it was saying. The piano was talking, and you're like, but it's just musical notes. So we can't get away from the fact our primitive brains try to decipher everything, mathematically calculate things without your even awareness. So the best ghost detector is yourself, because you're highly primed to detect things that you're not even aware of. You ever get a sensation, when you're walking down a dark alleyway and you start getting scared? That's because you're in a situation where it could be potentially dangerous. It's your primitive brain fucking with your senses, even though it's 2026. The likelihood of me getting mugged is probably very low.
You've never been to Newport, have you?
Edinburgh's a wee bit better, but it's not that bad, But it's even though you physically know you're safe, there's nothing really going on. You're already primed to know something can happen. Your fight or flight's going like And the best best piece of ghost hunting equipment is you. If you're a critical thinker, you're open-minded, you're a little bit optimistic, and a little bit skeptical. You already got the 5 traits there to make a perfect ghost hunter.
Absolutely.
Just don't automatically think every fucking noise is a ghost. Don't automatically think your equipment's there's a ghost. And every fucking word that comes out of your ghost app is not a ghost talking to you.
No. Right. Is there any difference between Google and Apple in the way they check app settings? And can you push more features one way than the other?
The thing is, right, Apple's pretty much on the same level with the permissions, the transparency and things like that. It's how the developers translate that transparency to you, right? So most of them have to sell the app to you. So basically, you look in the description, it's not going to tell you all the way to the very bottom that is for entertainment purposes, because they have to tell you that. It's not because out of their goodwill, they're just telling you that's for entertainment and investigative purposes. It's because they have to physically tell her to get the app removed. So for transparency reasons, that's why that's in there. But that's mainly all they have to tell you. They don't have to tell you what the app's doing, what it's recording, this, that. So if the developer's open to discussion and they're not overly biased of their own stuff, they're more happy to tell you, what the app's physically doing. It's like myself. I removed all bias even from my own stuff. That's why you never see me going on investigations with my own equipment, because people will then say, "Oh, you could make that say that. You can make that do that."
Yeah.
That's why I don't do it. And I removed bias even from my own stuff, because I'm aware devices, apps, everything like that. We absolutely have no clue what the fuck we're trying to detect. It's an idea. For me, it's an idea. It's a hobby. It's something I like doing. If it's contributing to science in future, maybe that's something pretty cool. But in my eyes, everything, nothing is a ghost detector. Nothing on this planet, apart from your visual eyeballs and your hearing, can basically interpret that as something strange.
Yeah, and even then, you've got to be careful of your own senses.
That's right, because your own senses play tricks on you.
Yeah. Right. So I've got 2 left, and because we're just about there. Have you tested a crystal radio?
Yeah, it's basically just a germanium diode. I've actually got a big chunk of germanium because I was trying to build a foxhole type radio. Basically, the crystal radios are like a very basic radio set. It picks up AM radio waves. There was a Tesla Spirit radio, which basically had 2 like antenna coils, and this thing could hear fucking thunderstorms from 100 miles away and things like that. And you would get this kind of weird sound coming from it. And that's why it's called the Tesla Spirit radio. It was built by Tesla, and not Tesla, the motor car people, the Tesla guy, the scientist. He was a little bit sort of cuckoo with the inventions, and he thought spirits were talking to him through this germanium diode radio thing. And you can build them today. You can buy the old germanium radio diodes. You need the Russian type. You can't use any of the modern type because it doesn't work. You need to like one of the older ones. If you want to search up how to do it, just look for Crystal Radio on YouTube. You'll get hundreds of tutorials. They'll tell you which diode you need, stuff like that. You have to ground it to something like an earth plug. You know, on earth, you have to earth it, and it doesn't run on batteries or anything like that. But you can literally tune into radio stations with it, just with using this tiny little diode and a little coil antenna, and off you pop.
So
cool.
Some Android phones have the ability to record with the front and rear cameras simultaneously. Is this something that your SLS app could tap into?
It could do it. It just doesn't do it yet. It's a little bit hard because my apps are built as little web page things. That's the only way I can design is I've like a very advanced web page UI. So to get it would basically because it's doing all that processing with AI. If you turn the AI off, it's a little bit better. But because it's doing all this kind of stuff, I have to have the resolution already quite low. So it's only like 720p where it could be running at the highest resolution if it never had all this stuff going on. Because the AI is actually processing the image and then sending it back to the viewer in real time. So it takes up a lot of processing. To have two cameras on at one go, it might cause issues. I'm not sure.
Yeah, how quick will the phone overheat?
The phone already starts overheating when you've got the AI running on it. So if you're using it, I wouldn't recommend using it very long, or turn the AI on. The stick figure tracking, turn that off. The other version's only analyzing the pixels in computer vision. But the AI tracking is the CPU intensive thing. So if you don't need the stick figure thing coming up, turn it off, and you could run the other one for a very long time. You could just leave it running in the background, and it'll go on until the battery runs out.
Right. So the last one, I don't recall if this was asked, but Appy, have you ever seen anything paranormal?
Yes. I actually, when my kids were growing up in my older house, we had a lot of activity. That's one of the reasons why I got into it. We had a lot of strange stuff happen. Like a lot of stuff. There's too much to mention, but basically stuff did happen and it was real. So unexplained. I saw a lot of stuff. I'd literally came in. I used to work nights. I came in from work, went to the toilet. My son had this little cart. It was full of bricks. It was at the top of the stairs. Next minute, all here was do. I thought one of the kids had fell down the fucking stairs. So I opened the door, and there's this barrel of bricks at the bottom of the stair, and then there was like this whoosh of air. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. But it was almost like audible. It was almost like like that.
All right.
So it's almost like you open your window in the car and it's like it was kind of like that, and I'm like, fuck. So that happened, and then eventually all that kind of stuff stopped, and nothing's really happened since. But I've witnessed a few things. I'm not saying it's paranormal. It could be perfectly normal reasoning for it, but back then it scared the shit out of me. That's probably the only one time I've ever been like proper like, wow.
Wow. Well, thank you very, very much for your time tonight. Thank you for answering everything. I mean, there was a lot of questions there, so obviously there was a lot of interest in it. Absolutely fantastic to get you on and finally see what you look like, because I've only ever seen your hands tinkering with stuff.
Because I'm doing it. I don't really like being on camera. I don't know why. I'm just a little bit, but I'm a fucking an idiot, basically. It's because when I'm doing the in fact, I don't think there's ever been a video of me on camera. And like maybe ages ago, I don't know, but I don't know what it is. I'm not confident in that way. I'm not like, it's okay when I'm talking, stuff like that.
Conversation with someone.
When I'm talking to myself, I feel like an absolute fucking pleb. And I'm like questioning my life choices at that for 6 minutes, So I tend to just do I know it's not very entertaining. That's why I don't get a lot of views and stuff like that. But like, if I post a video and anybody wants to ask any questions, just ask. I'll be upfront and honest as far as I can be, as far as my understanding goes. Like if you want to know how devices are, go to the website. Everything I've ever made is posted on there for free. Go and get it. There's PC software, there's apps, anything you could get your hands on, just get it, because the website's going to be going down. I think the lease is up in middle of March, so I'm not sure where I'm going to be going after that. I don't think I'm going to be buying another £160 lease for the year.
Yeah.
At worst, it'll just be like a Wix Basic website. But as for now, all this stuff is up there. If you want to learn how to build things and stuff like that, you want to see how things actually work, like properly built, in my perspective. The code is quite advanced. It has 3 tiers, as beginner, medium, and advanced. But you can pretty much buy like an ATS-20 radio, which is basically a little cheap radio you can buy on Amazon and eBay. You can flash it to make it a full-fledged ghost box. It's fairly easy to do, stuff like that. There's hundreds of things that you can do. Just go check out. And obviously, if you've got any questions, my Facebook is Appy Dev, and the YouTube, as you guys know, is this Appy Droid Development. That's all.
Yeah. So obviously, once we've ended, if you just drop me a message with links and all the rest, because I won't remember websites and stuff, and then I can put that in the description and I'll pin it as a comment.
Yeah.
And obviously, thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure. I've been dying to get on and have a chat with you anyway. I know you're a busy man. Trying to get hold of you is like, you know.
I've explained about my Facebook inbox on it.
Yeah, it's mad. Mine's is the same. I don't even bloody look at it anymore because I'm like, look, I stopped building things a while ago. I'm not even going to engage anymore. People know and they know, so that's it.
Right, I will let you go. Again, thank you very, very much. And obviously, if people want to know any more, obviously check out his channel. It'll all be linked in the description. Grab some free stuff. Grab it. All you can do is test
free, because that's it. Once it's gone, it's gone. As I say.
Yep, it is. Right, thank you. Have yourself a great evening, sir. And I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, will do. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh, that was cool. I really enjoyed that. Obviously, to get a developer, somebody that knows the ins and outs of these devices and apps and things like that. I've watched this guy take things apart and then rebuild them because people have overpaid. And I think he's charged people like the postage and like 20 quid for his time, which is amazing. You need to do an investigation with him. I'd go and do an investigation, especially because he lives in Scotland. Scotland's such a beautiful country. So thank you very much, everybody. Obviously, massive thank you to Appy Drev. So tonight, after me, Spaghetti alla Paranormale is live right now doing the wrestling stuff. But also, I'm going to post a different link for tonight. You all know who Spaghetti is, so you know how to find him. Spaghetti alla Paranormale. But on account of what he's gone through, I'm going to post a link to Casper's site, because obviously he's posted some videos about his brother's health declining and things. And sadly today his brother has passed away. So don't bother promoting me and Beardo this, Beardo that. Just please go over there and give some support to Ben, because despite how horrible I was to Ben when I first started thinking that was the way to get ahead, Ben has been very nice and kind to me. So just please go and leave some messages of encouragement to Ben from Casper site. Please don't Beardo sent me or anything like that. It's not about promotion. Literally just go and give the guy a bit of support, because he's going through it. And then obviously, once you've watched that, or if you don't want to watch that, whatever the case is, Spaghetti alla Paranormale is live right now with the wrestling. Tuesday's live stream will be a reaction. Tomorrow on the second channel, we'll be doing some reactions to whatever videos takes out pick. We'll try to pick some comedic stuff for Monday. And then the usual content throughout the week. Appreciate you all stopping in tonight. Obviously, there was a lot of people in tonight, and I really, really do appreciate it. So I don't have an end screen or anything on this. Thank you. Much love to you all. Beardo out.